I started vaping so I could quit smoking cigarettes, but the vape turned out to be even worse than the cigarettes. I had been smoking cigarettes for about 10 years, and then I started vaping. And overnight, I was vaping everywhere. All day, all night. I would wake up at 2 in the morning, my vape would be under my pillow, I'd puff on it, go back to sleep. I'd vape in the movie theaters, hold it in so nobody could see the big cloud. I vaped on the toilet, I even vaped in the shower sometimes. It was getting out of control. I finally quit vaping using 3 steps, and I am going to share those 3 steps with you because maybe you're trying to quit as well, and just maybe they can help. So my method is definitely not going to work for everybody. I'm just going to share it as it worked for me. So the first step was to pick a date. I chose a date that was a few weeks in advance, and I told myself every day leading up to that date that I was going to quit vaping. I literally brainwashed myself to believe that after that date came, I would quit vaping. Now, my date was July 15th. And I think if you're going to do this, you should use a date like the first of the month or the 15th, or a birthday, or maybe even a New Year's resolution. But I think the bigger and more significant the date, the more effective it might be. So I had promised myself that July 15th I was done vaping, and I had made myself this promise sometime around the end of June, so I had quite a bit of time to mentally prepare to quit. And the brain is a very powerful computer. If you can learn how to program it and get it to work with you instead of against you, it makes a lot of tasks, a lot of parts of life a lot easier. So when the date came to finally quit, my brain was already prepared, and I believed that it helped me with a lot of the cravings, but definitely not all of the cravings, which leads me to the next step. So the night before the date you've chosen, you're going to want to throw all your vapes and accessories in the trash. Take them out to the dumpster, throw them away. Don't give them to your roommate. They need to be somewhere you have no access to them. And then what you do the night before, right? So if your date's July 15th, that's the last day of vaping, that night I put on a nicotine patch. And I wear the patch while I sleep. It definitely gives me intense dreams. I normally don't remember my dreams, so I didn't mind wearing the patch, but not everybody, it's not going to be for everybody, because it did give me some nightmares which were pretty vivid. But for me, it was worth it because I just wanted to quit vaping. And sometimes it also irritated the skin. I'd get a little bit itchy if I wore it on my arm. I started eventually wearing it on my thigh, and that seemed to work best for me. But the nicotine patch, the way it works is it doesn't get rid of all of your cravings. It kind of levels them out, if that makes sense. So I didn't get random cravings in the day. Instead, I'd get strong cravings after I eat or after I first wake up in the morning, if that makes sense. And so that brings me to the third step. So even with the patch on, you're still going to get those strong cravings, right? Right after you eat, or for me, when I was driving in my car, I'd get the cravings. So whenever those cravings spike up and you get those strong cravings, even with the patch on, I would chew a piece of nicotine gum or use a nicotine lozenge. Yes, even with the patch on. So I understand this is a lot of nicotine, and this method does not work for everybody. My wife, she got sick doing this. So if you're, sensitive to this kind of stuff, I wouldn't try it. But when the cravings really fire up and the patch is just not enough, then I put a lozenge, a 2 milligram lozenge or a 2 milligram piece of gum. I prefer the lozenges because the gum would give me hiccups for some reason. But the 2 milligram lozenge, and I would just let it dissolve, and that would take the strong cravings away. And after about 4 or 5 days, you'll stop being addicted to the vape, and you'll end up being addicted to the lozenge. So when it comes to the patch and the gum or lozenges, whichever you choose, I bought mine from Walmart because the Walmart brand works just as well. It was also a lot cheaper. And then I guess the final thing I did was, before I quit vaping, I had actually quit drinking. Because for me, it's impossible to quit vaping or smoking cigarettes if you drink alcohol. For me, at least. So as soon as I get a buzz, that nicotine craving hits hard. So quitting alcohol definitely was a big help when it came to quitting vaping. And I also just did a video on how I quit drinking. So if you want to see that video, I'll put a link in the description. So just a quick recap, I chose a date and I convinced myself that on that date I was done. The night before that date, or the night of that date, I wore a nicotine patch to level off the cravings, and then I chewed nicotine gum whenever the cravings got really bad. Like I said, this didn't work for my wife. The gum and patches were just a little bit too much for her, and they made her kind of nauseous. But after about a month, I switched from nicotine gum to regular chewing gum, and then I was completely off of the nicotine. So, and I actually stopped wearing the patch after the first like 9 or 10 days. So I wore the patch for 9 or 10 days, and then I chewed the gum for about 30 days. But now I can breathe much better. I don't get nearly as many headaches. The vape was giving me a lot of headaches. I would also get hypoglycemic and feel weak. I definitely feel a lot healthier. Now that I'm not vaping, my lungs feel better. I'm not like coughing up phlegm. So I'm very happy I quit. I hope this video like helps somebody else out there who's trying to quit vaping, because if you vaped for a few years and you're just tired of it and you've tried to quit, it kind of feels like you're trapped sometimes. So I make videos on this channel about change and self-improvement and redemption, and just ways to improve our lives. I own a small business with my wife, but 15 years ago I was just starting a prison sentence. I spent a very long time in prison, and I changed my life, and I'm continuing to change my life, and now I'm just sharing that on YouTube. So if you liked this, please give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it, and Happy New Year's. Thank you.